I'm ready.
Guess we are ready. I was gonna start off with the Seven Nation Army theme, man. Boom, 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 and yeah, there it was, folks. Because we won tonight versus Costa Rica, the elderly team from Costa Rica, and we won the game 2-1. It was a little scary in that first half, Brett. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
What did I think I texted you? Oh boy.
This is going to be a long game, you said.
Yeah, because if you're 20 years old, which is kind of near the average age of our team, and you just got scored on by some wanker goal, some sort of lucky bounce around bullshit goal, man, you could have just fell apart right there and said, boy, this is going to be a bad day. Because that's what I was thinking.
I felt that we were, it was unfortunate, obviously. I felt like we were still going to just continue with our game plan. Our game plan, we had such a young squad out there against such an old squad that I just assumed we were going to maintain possession, move it around the pitch, which we did. But, they attacked with venom. As a whole, I think overall, the only thing I can complain about the entire game was our final pass.
Yeah. And therein lies the difference between you and I. Because when that first goal went in, I was thinking, oh boy, this could get bad.
I just assumed that Costa Rica at that point, I doubt they would have been. I'm sure they were going to be sitting back defensively anyways, but now that they're up a goal, they're probably going to try to shore that up. And I know it was only like the second minute in. That seems a little silly to say, oh, well, we're up 1-0. Let's just park the bus in front of the goal. But
yeah, I thought they would do it, and they really didn't do it. They didn't park the bus. They gave us all kinds of space, and it didn't help them that we're fast as fuck. We're young, and like we were playing fast, so their little creaky old bodies couldn't react fast enough. So we could always find space. And I don't know the benefits of playing a team. If you're Costa Rica, whose average age is like 39. No, just kidding. It's not that high.
37 and a half.
It's like, it's bad though. I mean, they're old, and they looked it tonight.
They were like making their subs, and like, oh, the guy that's leaving is like 39 years old, and the guy replacing him is 37. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, that doesn't lessen the win or lessen our play, because we played well. Even if this game ended 1-1 tonight, I'd go, you know what? It ended 1-1, but I can't really complain about anything but the final third. That's it. Like the cross, the pass to, set up the goal was missing. And it's still something we're going to have to fix going forward.
And I think Teichert had a great comment about that. It was sometime in the second half.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't you already tell Teichert to fuck off earlier? And now you're being nice to him?
No, okay. No. I mean, just like when we talk about Legend Costa, we can talk about how bad they play, and then times when they play well, we tell them how great they played. So
I was just kidding around.
So yeah,
but go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So to your off point there. What the hell was it for? Let me pull up the text. But Teichert's point in the second half, though, is that whenever we get down to the final third, we make that cross. The three people that were all in the box, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That's great that we have three people, but they were all making the same run in. There was no depth. There was no width even. I mean, they were kind of still width, but there was no depth. There's nobody checking in from the PK area. They were just all just like running in a straight line. Yeah. And his point was, that's easy to defend. You just put people on there.
Because that spot that you're talking about, the guy checking up at the 11, that is a second striker or a CAM usually. We don't play that position. So we don't no one really fills that role unless it's one of the three midfielders filling in late on that role. And so, yeah, we're not going to score a whole lot of cutback goals from crosses because just no one fills that void.
I found the quote they told you brought up there when I told Teichert he can suck it.
Yes.
It was the Richards quote unquote PK slide tackle.
Oh yeah.
Where Richards made a wonderful slide tackle, but scary as fuck all. but it was a wonderful slide tackle to get in front of between the player and the ball, and the player ran into him. And Tight Shirt's going, well, that's a PK every day for me. And I'm just like, fuck you.
I know, exactly. And for those of you who are not regulars, we don't say the word Twelman around here. We just say Tight Shirt because, well, if you ever watched him when he played professional soccer, he wore the tightest shirts in the game.
Small.
And it made sense. It's harder to grab the shirt if it's like sucked up to your body. So it was a smart move by him. But, you know, that's going back to like 2008 or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody was, and I think we started that, right? That's our meme.
And people still bring it up today, you know.
Tight Shirt Twelman, yeah.
We still have some form of pole in the
meme
vocabulary of the U.S. pool.
All we got going right now is puppies, dude.
Yeah, that's the new one.
That or apparently pumpkin flavored dildos. Apparently that's a thing.
Well, I mean, it makes sense since due to our benefactor, our sponsor of the show.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to explain that to Pete tomorrow when he's on the show. So yeah, Pete, also known as 11 Yanks, will be on our show tomorrow. Don't know when it's going to come out. Probably on Wednesday. Excuse me, it's already Wednesday. Probably on Friday night would be my guess. But yeah, Pete's going to be on the show, and Brett sent a wonderful message during Pete and Filippo's show today about who are. Maybe you should explain it, like the whole backing thing.
Yeah. So Pete and Filippo were talking about how they got a nice comment from some random person. Both of them got it on separate videos saying, you know, that he wanted to see their W-2s, their taxes, because they think he's getting paid to sow discontent between the U.S. fan base. Yeah. And so they kept talking about it. So I sent him a super chat saying, we are it's like, what did I say? We are funded by the great Canadian actor Peter North.
They had no idea.
And they're like, who's Peter North? Wait, is the guy posting this? The guy who submitted super chat, is he a salty Canadian? And I'm like, damn, B.
I saw that.
Why'd you play me like that?
Man, not salty Canadian. The fact that Filippo doesn't know your last name, so he doesn't know one Brett from another.
Well, we all sound alike.
Yes, you do. And yeah, of course, Pete's not going to get it. I mean, you've never met Pete. You've never talked to him before. So he's not going to know immediately. Oh yeah. Brett Corbett from.
Oh yeah. I thought you said he wasn't going to know who Peter North was.
No, he doesn't know that either.
No, they didn't.
He totally
missed it.
Totally missed 90s to 2010 porn. All right. They totally missed that. Both of them. All right.
Their chat didn't, though. Their chat got it. That's all that mattered. I'm a man of the people.
The chat knew who Peter North was. And if you don't know who Peter North is, you can look it up. But I would just put Peter North Wikipedia after that, because
Canadian
otherwise
actor Peter North.
Otherwise you're going to get some funny pictures you might not want to see. Great actor though. All right. So okay. Great game. Just in general, can't really criticize Berhalter that much for either the people he picked. Because hey, Hoppy came in late. All right.
We could have except for Errol got an injury in the warm-up.
Oh my God, Could you
have imagined Weah not being out there? Weah absolutely killed that right side.
I know. Totally, yeah, kicking ass. And didn't he switch with Aronson a bunch of times? He was on the left too.
Yeah, they moved around too. Yeah, I thought he was the most dangerous on the right though. Mind you, he worked incredibly well with Musa and Des. That was a great trio on that side. Man,
I thought all of the trios on both wings were great tonight.
Oh sure, no, I don't think there are very few bad things to say about the game. Yeah, that's nitpicking at that. Like they had a couple of bad passes, or those through balls could have been a little cleaner. But as a whole, I thought most everybody had a great game.
Yeah, everybody was really sharp tonight. It's like, I don't know, they all got high and then did 2 lines of cocaine because they had a lot of energy and yet they were very focused. at the same time, which is not always. I mean, if you're spazzing out, usually it's hard to keep your mind focused. But they were going at top speed, quick passes, everything Berhalter's talked about before kind of happened in this game. Like, it was a good game for us. I mean, could we have won 3-1 if we kept pushing? Maybe. But at some point, you just say, listen, there's 10 minutes to go. Let's just dribble this one out.
Yeah. And jumping from the Panama game to this game, I think we really need to talk about the big difference here.
Yeah.
And the big difference starts and ends with our midfield.
Oh, yes.
Just that trio, that Musa, McKennie, and Adams trio made the world of difference. Now, you could have substitute one or the other out with anybody except for Adams. I think Adams is almost like a must stay. But I mean, Musa was so comfortable with the ball in tight spaces. He opened it up because he always drew like 2 or 3 players before he made his pass, either to Weah or back to the middle. McKennie was a workhorse, ran through the midfield a lot. He had a couple of sloppy touches and some through balls that needed to be a little better. But I thought when McKennie slowed down and he just made those nice 40-yard pings to the opposite side and changed side of possession, I thought those were brilliant. When he wasn't trying to go 100 miles an hour, when he slowed it down and just maintained it, I thought he was brilliant. But when he tried to force it a little bit too quickly, I think that's where he made his mistakes.
Okay, one for McKennie. His spaz out period was right after pretty much we went down 1-0. So for like the first 20 minutes, he was trying hero ball, doing too much. And just like you said, he just didn't have his shit together. He was trying like really hard. And I get it. You're down a goal. You want to get that goal back as soon as possible. And I just think everybody was actually pushing a little too hard and a little too fast. But then we settled down and then we started getting in a flow. And then Adams, I mean, if Adams isn't the most important player on the United States men's national team, I don't know who is, because he's the only irreplaceable guy we have. Irreplaceable.
That position that he plays, nobody can fill his boots, in all honesty.
Not even close. You
can put somebody in there to sort of maintain kind of a defensive pressure, but his ability to apply defensive pressure while also getting into an open spot, while also playing in tight spaces, but just making the outlet pass, it opens us up. And there's a big difference, and I don't want to bag on Acosta because he didn't do anything today because he didn't play. But there's a big difference between the way Acosta plays the 6, or even Busio played the 6 in the Gold Cup. He didn't really play 6 in the Gold Cup, I guess. But the way that Acosta plays the 6 and Adams plays the 6 is just completely different.
The difference really is, let's say you own a poodle, okay? And that poodle needed a haircut. And it's the difference between, taking your poodle to the professional pet shop where they do that shit and they know what they're doing, and you just knock on your neighbor's door and hand them some clippers and you say, listen, I gotta go, here's $20, can you trim my dog? That's the difference.
Or it could be the difference between using a pair of clippers and then using a weed whacker.
Yes, exactly. It's
don't use a weed whacker when trimming your dog's hair, though.
No, and that's not what you meant. But yeah, I mean, it's the difference between, a Sherman tank and a Tiger tank. That's the difference. And so I'm glad we're kind of getting to a point where the only reason I can think that we were so bad in Panama was the personnel, the energy, and Gregg. And because this was such night and day shit. It was night and day shit.
So into a couple of other pundits' points, that team that went to Panama, that played against Panama, 9 times out of 10 probably would have got a result.
Yep.
And not to say it, but in that specific game, there was just a creative void in the midfield. Musa was even out there. He did some stuff, but it wasn't enough. And he got subbed at halftime, of course. But there was just a creative void. Whereas you look at tonight's game, I mean, it was all creative. I mean, again, Musa and Dest and Weah worked wonderfully together. But then again, so did the middle trio, and you mentioned even the outside trio. It was all working well. I mean, even Pepe coming back and applying first line of pressure whenever we got rid of the ball on a bad pass. It's just all the cogs were working in that wheel. So it worked nicely.
Yeah, and Casey Keller was saying something like, well, the real difference between Panama and this game was heart. And I agree with that a little bit. But I don't think it's just heart. I don't think Acosta ran around like a chicken with his fucking head cut off for 90 minutes in Panama because, he didn't care. He cared. But the difference for me is not just heart. There was a little bit of that was more, and it was tangible, and you could see it on the field. It was skill. It was fucking skill. The McKennie and Adams, the difference there for the United States men's national team when those two were playing, and it isn't Legit, and it isn't Acosta, and it isn't. Those are the two big ones. Roldan. We just look better. We look better. The passing's better. The triangles are better. The titter tatter's better. Everything's better. So, I mean, listen, again, not an anti-MLS thing. We love Pepe. Okay?
So I was saying, let's make this not an MLS thing. Well, let's make this completely an MLS thing. The difference between Pepe and Zardes. Pepe's one touch distribution, especially just slotting it through and creating opportunities, especially in the first half. He had like 2 or 3 of them where they could have been goals. It could have been everything. We're talking about 2 MLS strikers here, and we're talking completely night and day. And I'm not trying to bag on Zardes again, although I'm kind of bagging on him a little bit. But it's just even when Zardes came in for Pepe, there was just a bit of a difference. And Zardes definitely brought a lot more pressure and physicality there towards, mind you, Costa Rica's aged defense was already tired, but it's a little bit different in the striker. But I mean, as a whole, as far as your thought process, your first touch, your second touch, your distribution, your chances on goal, Pepe, who also plays in MLS, is much better than Zardes. So again, it's not an MLS thing when we bring these players up. It's like we said, it's just a skill thing for the most part.
Right. I mean, we've made it very clear we got nothing against Zimmerman. I think he's, probably in the top 4 or 5 center backs that we have right now. So it makes sense. The sad thing is that Acosta and Legit, who on occasion have some really good games, are just inconsistent as fuck. And so I don't know what you do about that. One game, you bring them in, they're hot as hell during his in Honduras. Then, next window, you play them at Panama, and they're totally flat, ineffectual cowards on the ball in general, horrible first touches. And you're just thinking, what the hell? Just when I thought maybe Legit could make me feel a little good about him starting games or playing games, he goes and has a stinker like that. So I'm glad, I guess, that Berhalter saved Musa, and by taking him off in the last game, I guess that was like waving the white flag. He's like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out tonight, so I'm gonna save Musa for this last game, because Musa's the only one that started all 3 games.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ariola didn't start today, so there you go.
Not by anything else but the fate of God, who came down and struck Paul Ariola with an injury, a pull, a little.
God's like, God, I want the U.S. to win. I don't want to really hurt him. What do I do? Oh, just give him a little tweak in his calf.
Give him a little hammy action.
He's got a headache. He lost the contact. I don't know.
When I heard that Way was coming in because Ariola had a pull, and I knew it wasn't a serious injury, and Ariola will be back. But I wasn't applauding it, but I was smirking and kind of chuckling.
I don't know if Ariola will be back. I mean, he might be back, assuming once everybody gets healthy. Because I mean, just look at the wing depth that we had this window,
right?
And then add in Pulisic and Reyna, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, this might have been Ariel's last outing for a bit. Now, of course, who knows? Maybe we see a Reyna get pushed into the midfield depth. But I mean, as far as our other midfield depth, I think we're still fine there. I think you look at the squad we have, and you look at the players who barely got onto the field. Busio and Luca De La Torre.
De La Torre got fucked.
It would have been so much to ask for a little bit of extra time here and there, just to get a better understanding. Because we only saw him for a short period of time against Jamaica. We saw Busio a little bit here, but I think Busio made the most of his 15 minutes that he got in this match. But it would have been nice to see more of them. It would have been nice to see more of Hoppy.
De La Torre should have definitely played in the Panama game. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay, I understand this game and the subs that were made at the very end. So obviously isn't going to come in because we need Zimmerman. And then we put in Zardes for their height. And Luca De La Torre is like 5'9". So on set pieces and crosses and whatever, he's kind of useless. And that's kind of what the game was coming down to in those last 5 minutes. So I get the subs at the end, but he still got shafted because Luca De La Torre should have played in that Panama game. In fact, Busio and him should have started over Leggett and Acosta. My opinion.
Yeah, and whatever. I mean, Gregg's gonna Gregg, but I would have at least had preferred them to see the pitch at some point. And I want to go back to the Panama game because I'm in a good mood. But I mean, just the subs that he chose, and it was just like, God, look at the players on the bench. Really? Okay, whatever.
And now we're going to get the usual. We got people out there that's saying, like, okay, well, this will excuse Gregg now. And now we're stuck with Gregg. You were always stuck with Gregg. Okay. This result tonight might have sent some, shivers up Ernie Stewart's anal cavity, but it wasn't going to make him fire Gregg.
And to get to that point, who would take his place?
And we had that discussion the other night. Yeah. So if you missed it, go back and watch that. It's going to be hard to find a replacement that short of time. So for those there's like two camps, right? There's one, and they're on the edges, these two camps. One camp is, man, Berhalter's got to go. Well, that camp, you better set up camp and have a lot of supplies because you're going to be at that campfire and your tent for a long time. That's not happening anytime soon. The other camp is, man, all these guys are just like so hard on Berhalter. They're not real American fans. They're not loyal American fans. Fuck off, dude.
They're getting paid. They're getting paid to sow discontent. Remember?
Yes. Now that's the other ridiculous. So if you're on that wing too, not the other wing where you hope Berhalter loses so he gets fired. That's the one wing. And then the other idiot wing is, well, Berhalter's infallible. Well, and we're disloyal for criticizing him. Well, fuck that too. Fuck both of those ideas because none of them are realistic. And they're not, if you're just, there was one guy on Facebook's like, okay, when's the last time you coached a fucking World Cup team? Never, asshole. I've never coached one. That doesn't mean I can't have an opinion, you fucking prick.
I'm sorry. Listen, my brother is not in USSF, so
exactly. I'm sorry. I've only coached a couple U10 teams and a U9
but
team.
They were fucking good teams.
They were great. I mean, my son scored all kinds of goals on those teams. But all I'm saying is, it's not an all or nothing proposition. And people that think that you're not allowed to criticize something because you're not in that position. So what? I'm not allowed to criticize the government because I'm not in the government? That's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So don't say that. Don't use that straw man argument. I'm sick of, and it wasn't even directed towards me. It was directed towards somebody else. And I stepped in and just typed straw man. That's the only word I used. That's it. Straw man. All right. So let's just cover a few other things in this game because it was good. And we don't need to dig too deep. Everybody saw it. We were smooth. Things were going our way. But wasn't that a foul on Dest in the 18th minute? That was a foul. Not on Dest. It was the foul was on the Costa Rican defender. That one blew me away.
Yeah.
Then Pepe missed a sitter, I thought.
Yeah.
Then Twellman starts talking about fucking VAR again. And at least his compatriot, I always forget his name, explained, he basically said,
is it still Ian Dark?
No, it's not Ian Dark. No. He at least explained why Twellman is a silly tart who keeps bringing up a topic and then not explaining it on air. So every time Twellman bitches about VAR, this guy has to go through a 5-minute explanation about why there is no VAR. It's pretty simple, folks.
In his defense, though, there are still a lot of people going, "Why is there not VAR?" So, I mean, that's a perfectly fine side tangent to go off of whenever Twellman brings it up. To Twellman's point, though, if we had VAR, Pepe would have gotten a PK.
Yeah.
He got shoulder thrusted in his back, and it was just like, yeah, any VAR system would have been, totes PK.
Yeah, that was cowardly referee.
Yeah,
that was like, I don't want to.
So, speaking of the refereeing, on the goal, on the Costa Rican goal, and Twellman was talking about how Dest was keeping the guy onside. But like Dest was like 3 yards out of bounds behind the goal.
It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. When did that rule change?
No, that's always been that rule. It's like when you're out of bounds on the side, you're deemed still in bounds. That's why if you're a soccer player, you'll notice Dest did it twice tonight. He just ran out outside the field and came back on the wing. You know, he's like, I don't need to stay on the field to get around this player. I'll just run
that's
around.
That's not the.
No, you're still considered on the field of play, even if you're off the field of play. It's just that your spot is designated by the where you are parallel to the line, and that is the same thing for the back line. If you run off the back line, you're considered to be on the line. That's just how it works. Yeah,
because they were alluding to the fact that he was encroaching the in line, which would have kept him, quote unquote, inbounds type of thing. Whatever the intent was there, whatever. I don't know. So that threw me for a loop. Whatever.
No. So the thing about soccer is you're never out of bounds because there is no out of bounds. There is only out of bounds for the ball. There isn't for human beings. You could literally just walk anywhere off the field during a game and just spank it or, watch a TV show and then come back on when you want to. And you're considered on the field of play, even though you're off the field of play, spanking it and watching a TV show. So that's kind of how that works. And I thought they had somebody that came in and explained that rule. Am I wrong? I thought they did.
They mentioned the encroaching of the inline. I didn't mention, you're always whatever.
Yeah, you are always on field parallel to or adjacent to the closest line you're on. So Des may have been off, and but he was still on, considered basically running along the line, the back line, keeping everybody on sides. Nevertheless, it didn't end up mattering, right? We still came back and won. But it's a good thing to talk about because soccer rules are weird. There's a lot of weird rules. Like a lot of people still have a hard time getting offsides down. What is offsides? But then they go play FIFA and they throw their controller around the room because they're pissed off because every time they have the ball, their AI goes offsides. Yeah, they figure out what offsides is. So there's that. You mentioned something as well about U.S. men's national team staff saying that Aronson and Areola are the same player. That's a joke, right?
Yeah, I was. Pete and Filippo were talking about that, and I reached out to Filippo via Twitter, but I'm pretty sure he's busy doing his during the game coverage,
right? And
then he does the after game coverage as well. So he's probably not going to see that until tomorrow. It's my guess, or late tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, yeah, they were talking about how the staff basically just sees Areola and Aronson as the same type of player, same player.
That's the
tit for tat.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard. They're totally not the same player. Areola has about as much skill in his whole body that Aronson has in his one fucking pinky. That's ridiculous comparison. I mean, look at the only thing that's comparable about the two is their work rate. And that's it. That's it. That's all. I can't believe they came out and said that. And I want to find that online at some point and look at it.
I'll see if I can find it. But in the midst of going onto Twitter and trying to see if Filippo's responded, I came across a tweet that says, Bucio's balls are beautiful.
That seems like an aggressive prognostication or prediction. I'm guessing that person really doesn't know much about Bucio's balls.
being the English major you are, what is it whenever you use that many B's in like a sentence? It's like, Bucio's balls are beautiful.
Oh, that is a alliteration. No. Fuck. I can't remember. Yeah, well, okay, folks. It's been almost 25 years since I taught high school. So give me a break. It's been a while. And it's been over 20 years since I taught college. So give me a slight break here. But I think it's alliteration. Can you look that up, Brent? Alliteration?
Alliteration.
It's an alliteration.
So alliteration, an A, the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words.
Okay. So I got it right that it was alliteration, but then I misspelled alliteration. So that makes me an idiot. I couldn't remember how to spell alliteration. Jesus Christ. That could have been a perfect moment for me. That could have made me look so smart. And then it made me look dumb. That's how these things work, folks. All right. I don't have many other things to say except for the stands weren't full. That was disappointing. I know that the guy calling the game, that we don't know his name. We do know his name, but we're too dumb to remember it. He mentioned in a very like, oh, we are 20K full tonight. Well, that's not good. Doesn't that stadium hold like 26K, 27K?
I just assumed that the scalpers couldn't scalp all their tickets.
Something went wrong, but all right. I think that's going to be it. We're going to go on to the rankings for the next game. Panama didn't get to throw that cursed goat piss into our Gatorade tonight. So we came out, we played with real heart, and we came away with a win. And I guess we can talk about during the ratings, right before we do the ratings, whether or not 6 points is acceptable. All right. We'll come back with that on the next. Until then, I'll make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your uncle Giovanni if you have one. Or you could share it with your uncle Luca. I'm sure he'd like the show. All right. Take care, folks.